Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. 3 things we have learned about the Cowboys after win versus Giants. The Dallas Cowboys might be down, but they're playing like they're not out of it. Thanksgiving was good to them as they defeated the New York Giants for their second consecutive win, pushing their record to 5-7. Believe it or not, with all the injuries and lackluster play through the season, the Cowboys are only 2 games back from a wild-card spot in the playoffs, something most people didn't think was possible a few weeks ago. Dallas will get 10 days off before taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Carolina Panthers will follow. So, the Cowboys have 2 more games coming up that are very winnable and could make things interesting in the NFC playoff picture. However, for the time being, let's continue to bask in the glory of the Cowboys' victory and dive into 3 things we learned about them in the process. 1. Micah Parsons has returned with a vengeance. Once Micah Parsons went down with a high ankle sprain, the Cowboys' defense, which was already struggling, was going to take a step back until he returned to action. All good things come to those wait, and Parsons has been lights out in the 4 games that he's been back. The 3-time All-Pro has recorded 5.5 sacks and 21 pressures over that span. Specifically against the Giants, Parsons had 1.5 sacks and 6 pressures on 36 pass rush snaps. The threat that Parsons is rushing the passer can truly change the complexion of a game and assist a Cowboys offense that needs all the breaks it can get with Cooper Rush playing quarterback. With other guys getting back healthy as well, the Cowboys' defense could be a problem for opposing offenses to close out the season with Parsons leading the charge and playing like this. 2. Mazi Smith continues to stack good games together. Don't look now, but Mazi Smith is figuring things out. Consistency has been a bugaboo for Smith during his short career, but the last 3 weeks have seen his play improve gradually. He's had PFF grades of 55.9, 69.6, and 79.9 during that time. Smith put up a run defense grade of 77.6 against the Giants, which is huge because one knock on Smith has been his inability to disengage blocks at times, and it allows running playing plays to be successful. Although rushing the passer isn't his bread and butter, Smith is starting to push guys back into the pocket and move quarterbacks off their spot, which is exactly what you want coming up the middle. Smith playing well changes the entire defense in Dallas for the better. 3. Rico Dowdle is a legit starting running back. Not only did the Cowboys get the win against the Giants on Thanksgiving, but Rico Dowdle became the first Cowboys running back to go over the century mark in 26 games with his 112-yard performance on 22 carries. It was also the first 100-yard game of his career. Dowdle now sits at 600 yards on the season while averaging 4.5 yards per rush. He's run for more than 4 yards per carry in all but 2 games this season and has 3 games where he's averaged more than 5 yards per attempt. Simply put, when Dowdle gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them. He may not be a star like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, but Dowdle gives the Cowboys a legitimate rushing attack that can be effective if all the parts work together, especially seeing as the team isn't creative in their scheme. Cowboys' Josh Butler suffers ACL injury, Wanya Thomas dodges disaster. The 6-game losing streak at AT&T Stadium ended on Thanksgiving with a victory over the New York Giants, but it came at a cost for the Dallas Cowboys. In a season that's seen the latter overwhelmed almost weekly with injuries of all sorts, Josh Butler and Wanya Thomas are the latest victims of that ravaging. Butler, a promising young cornerback who delivered a breakout game in Instant Classic against the Washington Commanders just 4 days prior, suffered a torn ACL in the waning moments of the first half against the Giants. His injury will require surgery, per Executive Vice President and Director of Player Personnel Stephen Jones to 105.3 The Fan, and Butler will soon be moved to season-ending injured reserve. The news is a good bit better for Thomas, who went down writhing in pain early in the second quarter on a Cowboys kickoff to the Giants. Despite being carted off of the field and not returning to the contest, it's been determined Thomas suffered a meniscus injury that gives him a chance at returning before the 2024 regular season concludes. The expectation is he'll miss roughly 2 to 3 weeks as he recovers. Losing Butler and Thomas strike 2 additional blows to both defense and special teams, seeing as Thomas was also integral in securing the upset victory over the Commanders by way of an onside kick return for a touchdown, the first of his career, after essentially escorting Cavani Turpin to a 99-yard return on the prior kickoff. Though Darren Bland has returned to the field, the Cowboys have been without Trayvon Diggs over the last 2 matchups, and it's thrust Butler and the overall depth at the position onto center stage, and his absence will task Israel Mukumu with continuing to step up going forward. The hope is that the mini-bye week will help Diggs for the hosting of the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 14, but that is yet to be determined. Cowboys dream draft target plotting to join Super Bowl contender. While April's draft will help the Cowboys address several needs, one of the biggest is the running back room. Dallas' backfield has been among the worst in the NFL this season, and with a potentially high draft pick on the horizon, a chunk of the fan base would love to see owner and general manager Jerry Jones select Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty. Jeanty, who played high school football in Frisco, Texas, has been open to the idea of playing for the Cowboys in the past. However, it looks like something may have changed as the promising phenom now appears to have his sights set on joining another franchise. On a recent stream, Jeanty revealed that he would love to play for Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs, mainly because of the franchise's superstar quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. "Hey, if I go to the Chiefs, me and Mahomes would get hell Super Bowls, I can't lie," Jeanty told viewers about the possibility of going to Kansas City. While Cowboys fans are likely disappointed by Jeanty's remarks, his fantasy scenario isn't that surprising. The Chiefs have been the NFL's most successful franchise since Mahomes took over center, winning 3 Super Bowls while amassing an 85-25 record across 100 regular season games during that stretch. At the same time, Jeanty shouldn't fool himself into believing that Kansas City is a realistic destination come April. After all, the Boise State running back is one of the top prospects in next year's class, regardless of position. Pro Football Focus currently has Jeanty rated at number 4 in its latest update, while most mock drafts have him selected in the 10 to 15 range. The Cowboys, at their current pace, will have a shot at drafting him, whereas the Chiefs, who will all but certainly be picking at the end of round 1, probably won't have a chance barring an injury.